We're back in the shop and we are gonna paint a swim bait from Lure Build called a Balam 245, which is probably in the 8-inch range. It's a multi-jointed bait, and I'll tell you how I've started it already and what I've done. I actually took rubber bands and put them between each joint to keep the bait where I can paint it where it won't move. And we're going to use some of the new paints from Lure Build. We're going to use the new Flash, which is a chrome tinted red metallic and a chrome purple tint to it. We're going to use a Bruised Chameleon, which is purple and blue. And we're actually going to finish this one off today with Tamco 9500. We're going to do the whole bait. So stay tuned, and this is going to be a long one, so buckle in and get you something to drink. So what we're going to do first is we're going to start out with the chromatic Flash from Lure Build. These are some fantastic paints. You need to go check them out at lurebuild.com. Jimmy really has done a lot of innovative things at Lure Build. He's really your one-stop shop for your lure building supply needs. He's really growing. Just a fantastic guy. So go check him out. So let's get started. Let me just spin this around. Let me mix it up on the 4E's mixer. If you don't have a 4E's mixer, that's one of the better things I've bought. It just does a lot better job than me trying to shake it with my hand. I'm gonna switch my air brushes really fast. And we're gonna get a coat of this on. Let me turn this pressure up a little bit. And we're going to cover the entire bait in this. I bet I haven't even taken the plastic off of this. I'm sorry, guys. These are brand new paints. So I'm still getting everything done. Let me just peel this off really fast. You're going to get it like I do it, so I goofed on this one. Let me just get something to take this off. I can punch a hole in it and pop it up. Usually I can get them off. It wants to be difficult and come out in pieces, but there we go. All right, so let's move my can back over here to me. Get the top back on and we'll get this show on the road. All right. This is a very cool looking paint. I've been excited to use this one. So I'm spraying on about 20. And it is a really cool paint. I think it's going to be great for stuff like this, for your sheds. I'll just put a light coat on because I'm going to have to reload it. And then we'll let it dry. And probably put another one on. Old gun's trying to want to act funny. So we're going to let that dry just for a minute. All right, so this is dried, and now what we're going to do, we're just going to take some carbon black, and we're going to do the top, because you have to use black with the color shift. Get some of this black in the gun. And it is a multi-jointed bait, so it's just a little bit different to do. I just try to do it lightly. I don't want a whole lot of the overspray going down the back, or the side, excuse me. Okay. We'll go ahead and hit a little bit in them eyes, because I'm going to use a silver eye in this. And it'll kind of match. We'll go ahead and heat set that. And we'll put a fin and a kill dot on it. Because we're going to have to take it out of these helping hands. We'll take it out of the helping hands just for, so we can lay it flat. I don't have a holder for my heat gun yet. I got it coming so I can actually attach it to my booth here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just take this out. Set these up here, get our sponge out. And I'm just going to lean it up on there, and we'll go ahead and get our fin. This is from Whitmore Farm. This is my go-to, and I like using this one. I'm actually going to use the bottom one on this one. We've already got the paint in the gun. We can actually lay this one flat. I just want to make sure that y'all can see it. And I'm just going to take it off of the gill and stop. I'm going to try to keep it as straight as I can so I can match it up on the other side. And I just like to go around the outside edge. And it gives it a nice fin. And we'll go ahead and take, I'm going to put a little bit of this around the face. I like that. That kind of gives it a really unique look. I'm gonna grab my stencil for my kill dot. You can tell I'm really organized today. I'm just glad I'm in the booth and I'm not working today. It's kind of nice to have a day off. I've been pretty stretched out at work. So what we'll do to make it match, we'll just lean it up on the gill, and we'll do the same thing on the other side, and then it'll be a perfect match. So that's what you get. And I'll go ahead and heat set that really fast. I'm going to show you something else. I just got to find it. Here it is. I should have used this today. This is a very unique stencil from Lure Build. It is a kill dot stencil. I should have used that on this today. I actually had forgot. That's my fault. But Jimmy's came up with that, and that's a very unique stencil. So we're going to flip this over, and we're just going to repeat what we did on this side. So I'm going to take the fin. I use the bottom one. I'm going to keep it straight. I'm just going to go off of the gill. Then I'm just going to go around the outside just to make it dark. And that gives kind of a unique pattern. Then we'll go around this. Then we'll do the same thing here. Just make sure you're drawing off the other side of your stencil. So if you stick it the same way, it's going to be in the same spot. Okay. So what we'll do now is we'll put it back in and we'll spray some color shift on it. And then we'll put some scales and some roughed up areas. I'm not gonna do the Gerald Mendez on the side. Sometimes I like to do them plain. Sometimes plain looks good. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna straighten this up. And we have the new Bruised Chameleon color shift paint from Lure Build. And this is a blue and purple, which I love blue and purple where I live because the bluebacks have that in them. They do have a little bit of gold on the side, but I think I'm just gonna leave this one black and silver and in the flash color. It does have some actual chrome purple in it, and that it's really a neat looking paint. I tell you, it's really gonna help some of the people that paint shad and stuff. It's actually a really good color. I don't have any nails, so I'm going to have to go back to this. I forgot to open these new paints up. So now I got to do it now. And it's not cooperating on the camera, but I don't do any editing, so you're going to see it just like I do it. If I can get my hand under it. And we'll get this opened up, thrown out. And give these color shift paints a whirl, and I'll tell you what I think about them. So let's set that back. Make sure I got my gun cleaned out, and I don't. Let me clean this black out. I'm gonna pour some of it back. I actually put way too much in there, which I do quite a bit. It does not take a lot of paint to do these lures. I think that's one of the things you can learn is don't overdo the paint. It only takes a couple of drops. I mean, I put probably 5 or 6 in there, and I shouldn't have done that. I could have done it with 2, maybe 2. It just really does not take that much paint to do these lures, especially when you're spraying it fine with low pressure. It just doesn't take a lot. It takes a lot less than you'll ever know. So I'm gonna run some reducer through that. I ran water through it, so try to keep that clean. We'll let that dry good. It's a very cool bait too. I know it's a swim bait. I'll be honest with you, I don't know what this knockoff is, which one. I know it's called a Balam 245. It's very good quality though. I mean, you know, everybody can't afford $200 swim bait, so it kind of gives us options, especially as lure painters, just to have some fun and be able to paint something we probably never would have been able to paint. So let's shake this up and we'll get some on here. And then we'll get us a good scale pattern on it. So I got that loaded. I keep knocking everything all over the place today. Let's turn my fans on. And let's just lean it over where you can see. And you can see that this is nice. I'm gonna tell you what, this thing is immediately changing. You can see it on the camera. It's just, Jimmy, you outdid yourself with this one. This is a very, very cool paint. And I'm gonna make sure that I get it on the outside edge. And I'm gonna do some of that face, change it. Because anything that's black, you're gonna change it. So I'll hit a little bit on the fin just to give it that purple, and the kill dot for that matter. So now you can see it. It's got the purple and blue. That's very neat. Just something different for you to do. And just like I said, remember, anything that's black that you hit it with is going to turn that color. That is, wow. That is a very, very cool paint. That is the Bruised Chameleon. That's going to match those eyes great. Put another coat on it, then we'll heat set that. That really is a very, very cool paint. That is definitely a winner right there for people who do a lot of shed. So Jimmy, you hit a home run with that one. Let me go ahead and grab my gun and we heat set this really fast. Wasn't good. That thing hit the ground. I just haven't got the outside shop here totally set up. I've got a lot of stuff out here. I'm just really trying to transition it over and get it the way I want it. I just have been working a lot and just haven't had time to do much painting at all. So let's cut that off so we can hear a little bit better. And what we're going to do is we're going to take it out of the helping hands. I'm not big on helping hands. You have to do it on this bait, but you can see the color shift. This thing is just really a fantastic color. I like to mix some of my own, but I love using Jimmy's paints. Jimmy has been an innovator in this for a while now, and y'all will love that one. That's a cool one. And I still got a couple more to do videos over this weekend with a camo chameleon and a what he calls a flip mode. He's got some really, really cool paint. So let me get my stuff together and we'll put these scales on. All right, so we got ourselves together. We're going to get some titanium white out and we're going to rough the shad up on the side. Then we're going to put a scale pattern on it. I guess I gotta break this loose. I don't keep my tips cleaned open like I probably should. So I gotta take the needle there and open it up. Let me shake this paint up. It's not where I need it to be. It came out a little clear. I like to use this titanium white up against something like this flash that Jimmy's got. It just gives it a really unique look. That's better. So what we're going to do is just take our stencil that we use for this. I don't want to get it on my fin, so I'm just going to spray it. There we go. Then I'll pick a section here and just hit it. Then you can put your scale pattern over that. We'll put some of the white on this face with this small stencil. Put it up a little bit higher. Yeah, this will be a very good color for a shad bait, especially where I live. The rivers are very clear, and that'll stand out like crazy. That purple and blue and silver and the white. I am having all kinds of trouble. I hope I just didn't bend that needle. All right, so now what we'll do is we'll get some of this scale pattern on here. So we're just gonna go across the edge. I'm not gonna come down super far with this. And it gives it a nice light scale pattern. Not heavy. And we'll flip it over. We'll go ahead and heat set that. I actually grabbed my air hose and yanked my gun off. I didn't bend the needle, thank God. I've done that too many times. We'll just set that down. We'll flip this over. I'll let you take a look at it. It actually turned out really cool looking. That top is just crazy cool color that he's come up with, man. All right, so let's spot you this thing up a little bit. Just remember, don't hit your fin or areas that you don't want it to be on. And then just take a section, you can move it around. You don't have to use the same design. Okay, put a little bit here. And we'll go ahead and hit some small here. Let that dry for just a second. We'll go ahead and heat set it. We'll put our scale pattern on. So let's get just the tips, and we will get this one finished up. You just want a light top of that scale pattern to show. You can let it come down as you go because it's smaller and it kind of looks cool. Get a little bit more here. That's better. I'll tell you the only thing I don't like on some of these blanks is it comes with a colored tail, and this one is kind of a green, and I guess it'll be okay, but I would have rather it been clear, because then there's so many options you can do with it. You can dye it with worm dye and really match it up, or you have to paint it pretty much whatever the tail color is. I didn't want to do that here because I wanted to try this new Bruised Chameleon and the flash paint, which the flash paint would have been fine, but I wanted to try the purple and blue chameleon. It's just a cool shad color. I'll let that dry for just a second. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and get the eyes in the bait. And I'm going to be using some large pupil silver. I just think that's one of the better shad eyes if you're trying to get realism. Set that to the side, and I'll pick that up and let you see it. It actually has a I'm telling you, I can't even tell you how tickled I am with the color shift, but it gives it a really neat look. And the tail actually goes in through the bottom, I believe, and it does. I hate these tails, I really do. Okay, there it is. So that's what it looks like with the tail in. It's a very long bait. I know it's going to catch fish. The tail's actually got that, it's got a little piece that separates the back end, so I know it's going to have a lot of wiggle to it. So when you're pulling that thing through the water, it's going to be a pretty cool looking bait. So let's go ahead and set it back in here. We're going to hit it with a coat of UVLS, and then we're going to let it dry, and then I'm going to get out the Tamco 9500, and we're going to do that for the first time. I like to do that. That's, to be honest with you, that's why I bought the mini spray gun, and the Tamco was for the swim baits. I mean, you can UV these and it's not that big of a deal, but I just like the idea of the Tamco, and especially using the resin baits. I think it's going to be a better fit. So let me get set up and we'll get that UVLS on. All right, so we got our UVLS ready. It's just some UVLS and some 4011. Turn the fan on, and we're just going to get a light coating on it just to cover it up, give it some protection. It'll really bring that shine and that paint out. It is the gloss version. Okay, so we're going to let that dry. Now this next piece is, I'm going to go ahead and get the Tamco 95 ready to go, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you now how I mix that, because I've got to wear the mask. I won't be doing much talking with this because I don't know that you'll be able, I mean, you'll be able to hear me. I'll have the mask on though, so I'm just going to let you know, because that stuff's not a joke. I've got it piped out of the shop, so, and I've got the fans on, and you got to think of safety when you're using that stuff. I don't take any chances with it. So let me get this gun disconnected, and then I'll tell you how I do it. Get this and put this under the fan, let it just dry. So the Tamco 95 is a 2-part, and it is actually 4 to 1. So 4 parts the clear, 1 part of the hardener. So you really don't, I mean, I got it so down the road when I start selling again, I can do a lot of baits with my mini spray gun at one time. But doing one bait, it's going to be really a little bit of stuff. So it's going to be really 4 of these to 1 of these. So it's really not hard to mix it. You just got to be careful with the breathing part of this. I've got a nice respirator that I'm going to put on, so I won't be doing a whole, I'll try to talk. I don't know that you'll be able to hear me, but I'm going to put maybe 1 or 2 coats on this. I'm going to let it flash off about 15 minutes, so I'll be cutting the camera off, coming back, so you understand what I'm doing. Because you got to let this stuff flash, and it's got to dry. You don't want to spray wet on wet. That'll just mess up your bait. So I'm going to get it all ready to go, and we'll get it sprayed, okay? All right, I've got the Tamco loaded in the mini spray gun. We're going to go ahead and test it, and all I'm going to do is hit some light layers over it. Nothing heavy. And we're going to let that dry just for a minute and flash off. All right, it is the Tamco 9500 is flashed. We're going to put our second coat on with the mini air gun. Okay, and that's going to be it. I will let it flash and dry, and then I will show you the final results. All right, it is finally dry after 2 coats of the Tamco 9500, and that is the results. Very clean, smooth. I love the Tamco, I really do. Like I said, I used it. I actually purchased it for the swim baits because I think it's easier to spray with the mini spray gun. And one of the big things is this mini spray gun is only $150. It's a 6mm. It's cheaper than an airbrush, a good airbrush. And if you are using the 2K Clear, whatever brand you're using, I just think it would be a plus to your arsenal to actually use it. And keep it out of your regular airbrushes. But it did a really good job on this Balam 245. Turned out really good, featuring the new paints from Lure Build, the chromatic flash, which is excellent, and the Bruised Chameleon blue-purple color shift, which is really fantastic. I hope everybody enjoyed the video. Hit the like button, subscribe, and like I always say, I'll catch you next time. Thanks.